What we gonna do right now is go back, way back.
Give me your friend. Hey, hey, more. Come on, give me your friend. Hey, because they do the round. Fat girls like to do the round. Woo. Fat girls, let me see you grind. Woo. Fat girls just doing their own thing right there with the fat thing. And the fat girls just shaking them thighs. Fat girls don't make it count right.
Excuse me.
Baby.
What's up? I thought you was gonna start hanging out with the big girls again. What is all this trash?
But like fat girl, hit the ground, hit it up, and hit us up, sound. Fat girl just looking so sweet. Fat girl don't make it eat. Fat girl just shake it, don't break. Big girl, let me see you do a thing. Let go, let me see you touch the ground. Shake it up, shake it up, back down. Top me is in the house. Work it, work it, work it, work it, work it, big girl, 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 like you around. Fat girl keep going, don't quit. Fat girl just move the damn hip. Fat girl keep down, don't stop. Fat girl wanna see the pop. Shake it, stop, fat girl, shake it fast. Fat girl nigga wanna see that. Fat girl bounce like a pro. Fat girl go what you know. Fat girl shake, till you rip through what? On the web, that's hard part two. Look to the house, y'all know the game. Fat girl don't have no shit. Shake that up, bounce to the beat. Fat girl shake it, jiggle like me. St. Louis, back to the top. Like I like to do the ride. Work it, work it, work it, big girl, 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 like do the ride. Hey, hey, more hey. Let me hear you say, hey, hey, more hey. Big girls like to do the ride. Shake, work, shake, work, shake, work, shake, work, shake, shake, work, shake, shake, work, shake, work, shake, work, shake, to the ground, to the ground, to the ground, to the ground.
Now sick of this. Now I want to show y'all a real show with the big girls.
Oh, fat girl, brought 3. Can't hang with 100% beat. Fat girl know the happen, don't quit. Fat girl run like you own it. Put your hands on your hips and grip it. Nothing new, I'm loose like it off the that. Fat girl bring crew to top the climb. If not, I'ma pull the business down. Fat girl bounce hot, stop tripping. If you do, get chicken and hot bitch. With a lot right, come to the nice beat. I really shit get the day to wear a tee. But fat girl show the boy shot. Let me see if the fat or not. Don't put fat girl, y'all like the damn let you out. Let me see y'all do the rap.
I'm serious. Where you are, not the Alabama. Oh, not the Britney Spears. Hey, how you doing? Oh, but ain't the little leprechaun. Girl, your beat is so up. You look a mess. All about the big girls. What about the big girls?
Big girl, work it, work it, work. Big girl, work it, work it, work. Big girl, you just suck all the fat off your ass.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of the Up Blue Show podcast. I would like to thank you guys for showing up today. This is a special show. We talk sports. This is Sunday edition show, and man, this has been an amazing weekend so far. It's been an amazing week. We get ready to go into a brand new, very impactful week, especially in the world of sports, politics, and entertainment. As you know, this is what we talk about over here. We talk sports, politics, and entertainment. And as you already know, in the sports World Cup is going on. I know y'all tired of the World Cup. Y'all ready to get back into y'all football, but the World Cup did bring some economic into the United States of America. It's enough talking about the World Cup. But hopefully our guy Messi wins it because he does play down here in Miami. We got Giannis. Giannis is at the Heat now. I know all the rest of y'all from around the country, y'all hating. It's okay. We're going to beat the Knicks. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. I mean, this show has been big. I want to thank you all. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the show right now. Please do that. I don't know, Miss Zakia got all kind of stuff down here on my thing that I cannot get off of here, but I'll work my way off getting some of these banners off of here from our previous programs. But yeah, we have a really big show today. You know, we're going to be joined by the one and only, the Honorable Oliver Gilbert, former mayor of Miami Gardens, former county commissioner, former chairman of the board of the Dade County Commissioners. He's going to come on here and talk about his campaign. He's running for Congressional District 24. Congressional District 24 that covers Miami Gardens, that covers Liberty City, Overtown, that covers Miramar, some parts of Miramar, that covers, that's the seat Frederica Wilson held for many, many, many years before Frederica Wilson. It was Kendrick Meeks, and then it was Carrie Meek, and then it was, shoot, my brains is dead after that. I don't go that far back, I guess. But no, it's a very important seat for Miami and Brown County. And it's something that we're going to talk about today. You know, the beautiful thing about it, you know, the beautiful thing about doing this show, and at this moment, I've always interviewed folks when it came to running for office. Fortunately, I'm running, but at the same time, I had to think carefully about it. I'm like, yo, I still have an obligation to interview candidates, and I've had the pleasure of interviewing Mr. Gilbert before. You know, he's a very good friend of mine. Love him to death. Love his family. Love his son. Love his mom. Love everybody in the family, just like everybody else. You know, and I love things that he's done at Miami Gardens. You know, he's taken it from one level to the next level. So it's more. It's more to come, because very young man, is more to come for all of us in our communities, whether it's Dade or Broward County, to take it to the next level. So without further ado, I want to introduce you all to the one and only, the Honorable Oliver Gilbert. How you doing, my brother?
What's going on, Luke?
I'm good, man. You got to smile. Why you got to smile? See, why do you, every time you see me, you got a smile on your face, and normally you bump me or you hit me.
Dude,
and now you can't do that right now.
You're the only person I know who's always on one. You're always on. Listen, I can't help it. You're right. If we were in person, I'd probably bump into you right now. I'll give you a little elbow. Listen, man, it's cool. Listen, we're going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about sports, too. I think that he got a chance. If we get LeBron, we got a chance.
You want LeBron?
Listen, I want LeBron for he's still a physically a great basketball player, but his basketball IQ on that team with Giannis, some of those young players. Listen, I like our chances. I like our chances.
I agree with you, and it would save him a lot of wear and tear on his body, because you can't double. You either got to double Giannis or you got to double Bam. And last time I checked, it's 5 people. The math ain't mathing for the opposing team. You got to pick your poison. LeBron could just run down the court in the East. He ain't got to run his body up and down like in the West and just stand out there and shoot.
It will be the first time that he wasn't the person on the team that they had to double. They're going to have to double Giannis. Like in the real world, you're going to have to double Giannis.
Yeah.
It's going to have to happen. So if you double Giannis, you might want to slide over there on Bam, but you ain't got time. Like LeBron as that person, okay, play with it.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm saying does he still have a house down here?
I think he still does have a house down here.
And if you don't, we can get him one in Miami Gardens.
We can get him a house. Yeah, we good. We got your place. We got some place for you.
Yeah, I love LeBron, man. I do some work with him I've been doing some work with his production company for years. We do it, and it's good. The guys over there, they work real well. It's a beautiful thing. But man, what your Dolphins going to do? See, I got to. What are your Dolphins are going to do?
Oh, listen. First of all, our Dolphins. I want to call them our Dolphins. Our Dolphins are going to be fine. Listen, I like our quarterback. I still think it's kind of a rebuilding year. I think we're going to take
kind of rebuilding.
Kind of a rebuilding year. We got some talent, but it's kind of a rebuilding year. We need a couple of years. What I like about them is they're looking at offensive line and defensive line. I like that. I believe that you have to build a team from the line out. I get, all of the fast wide receivers. I love to have a fast wide receiver, running backs, wide receivers, cornerback, safety. If you don't got a good defensive line and a good offensive line, you can't run the ball and you can't stop the run. You will not be successful in the NFL. That period, point blank, just stop. You have to actually get a good offensive line, good defensive line. I see this coach, he seems to be concentrating on that. That's a thing for me. So I played offensive line in high school. And it don't matter how good your quarterback is if your offensive line ain't good. It don't matter how good your wide receiver is. He ain't gonna get the ball. Your offensive line ain't good. It doesn't matter how good that cornerback is. That's back there defending that number one wide receiver. If I can run the ball on you at 4 or 5 yards a pop, I never have to throw the ball. I can just walk down the field on you. And so that's the type of thing. I want us to build a football team and stop trying to build a show. I don't need the greatest show on earth. I just need a football team. Football teams you build from the offensive line and defensive line out. I
already see this coming. It's gonna be in the future. At some point in your life, you're gonna be the general manager, president of the Miami Dolphins. At some point in your career, I can see how this is going to end up.
So listen, you will see me draft some big corn-eating, potato-eating people from the Big Ten and the SEC. And you see the biggest offensive line, the biggest defensive line, most physically imposing lines in the NFL. Because you got a physically imposing line, your running back ain't got to be Barry Sanders. He ain't got to be Barry Sanders. You don't have to have the best running back. You can have a quarterback who is a caretaker if your line gives him 5 seconds to throw the ball. You can have those things.
Now I gotta ask you about your Rattlers. They coming into town. I mean, we know you're. See, you all over the place when it's sports. I mean, not all over the place, but you're convicted into your Rattlers and then your Hurricanes and your Dolphins.
Yes.
So your Rattlers coming into town. How they gonna do this year? You got Quinn, straight out of Broward County. Shots out to Quinn.
We're gonna be fine. It's always so. College football is confusing to me now because there's so much movement. I'm not against the movement, but there's so much movement, so it's hard to tell what a team's going to be like from one year to another because you never know who the new player comes in. They might get a new player, and they might just not fit well. You never know. So you know what they did at their previous team. You don't know what they're going to do at their current team. But I think the Raptors are going to be fine. I would like to see for FAMU and UM. And I think UM is starting to do it. I like the portal. I think it can help you to plug holes. But for your main people, for your quarterbacks and stuff like that, I want you to actually develop talent. I don't think that you can have a program that always goes out and gets people. I think you got to develop talent. So that's what I would like to see them do.
Well, that's fortunately, that's going to be one of the questions I ask you once we start talking, because going into Congress, that they are trying to create a bill, craft a bill for NIL, which will directly affect the direction and the trajectory in college football. So that's going to be one of the main things that happens.
I'll tell you right now, I don't know what the bill's going to look like, but listen, it's not like I'm overly an NIL advocate, but I do believe that for years, college students and primarily young black men are being pimped. So the millions and billions of dollars in these programs, and now it's a problem. It's a problem, and let's be clear, it's a problem when they own their own name, image, and likeness. So that's saying like, I own me and you don't own me. No, I don't see how we're going to go back on that. I think this becomes a problem now because of the fluidity in college football, and some of the bigger programs, more historic programs, don't have a chokehold on recruiting like they used to, because now everybody can pay people. And so everybody can pay people. So I think it's challenging, and we might want to tweak how it's done, but I don't think we can go back. I think these young men and women have athletic ability. I think what we do need to institute is financial training. If they do in some discipline, they do this right. Some of these young folks, when they leave college, they'll be set to be entrepreneurs for the rest of their life. If you get $800,000 in some of these states, you buy 3 rental properties. You just start renting those properties out. You do that every year. You stay in college 4 years. By the time you're out, you got 5 or 6 duplexes. You got an apartment complex. You got equity all over the place. And it empowers you to actually live your dreams. And so when I look at this, I ain't even thinking about, most of these kids ain't going to play in the NBA, NFL, WNBA. They're not going to play any of those places. Most of these kids ain't going to play those places. But given the opportunity to invest that money, given the opportunity to actually have a financial planner to say, hey, listen, this is how we can set you up. So when you're done, you get your degree. If you get picked up in the league, that's cool. But if you don't get picked up in the league, this is how you're set. You might not be a millionaire yet, but you're on your path. You got equity in 10 to 12 properties. You got, you can do stuff like that. You can invest in, you can invest in the stock. You can do stuff like that. They can do that. And so it excites me because it provides another path. Like I know that sports has been seen as one of the pathways out of poverty for people of all races and ages and genders. What I'm saying is this is another pathway, y'all. Yeah. So I don't want y'all to crap on it. I don't want y'all to try to step on it. This is another pathway. And you're telling kids, if you do the right thing and you graduate high school and you go to college, you get to make some money and you get to possibly invest some money. And so whether you make it to the league or not, you actually have an opportunity to change your life and change your family's life. I don't think we can stop that.
Right. Let me I guess this is my last sports question before we get into it. How bad is Carroll City going to beat New Orleans this year?
You're going to stop it. I know Freezy probably going to watch this too. I know Mark's going to watch this too. Listen, I'm a Northern Viking till I die. That's the first thing. Vikes for life. That you got to understand that. Vikes for life. I don't know. We got to play the game. That's the game that I actually give out my trophy on. So that's the commission. I give out my trophy on that game. So we're gonna see. They got to play the game. The games are played on the field for a reason. If you're gonna look at all the blue chip and all the 5 stars and all that, you look at all those folks they got. Then that's one thing. But you can't play it on Instagram. You can't play it on a text message. You can't play it on Facebook. You got to play it on the game. So we just got to see. So I'm not willing to concede that, because they still got to play the game. So we're going to play the game, and we just going to see.
At least
we're going to play the game, we're going to see. Can we do that?
At least you said it.
I'm going to object to that question, Luke. That was an unfair question. That was an unfair question.
Why? Why would it be? I mean,
No, because it didn't ask whether they were going to win the game. It said how bad were they going to win the game. So yeah, it was an unfair question. And so I don't necessarily appreciate that. You tried me, but this would be one of those times that I would have nudged you. When people answer why I put my hands on you, Luke, these are the reasons. These are the reasons. Because you do stuff just like that. So I would never done it to you. I've never done it to you. So it's cool. But keep that same energy.
People, this is the point I would get hit.
Yeah. This is exactly the point you'd be hit. Exactly the point.
I mean,
we got through FAMU. I love FAM. You got through UM. I love UM. We got through the Dolphins and the Heat. I love them. The only spot you waited. You held that question till the end because you wanted to irritate me, and you did it. God, my man. Okay.
I'm just trying to.
I mean, it's I owe Luke.
I already know. I'm gonna get it when I see him. But I mean, we good. Yeah, we good. We good. And then you broke it down, all the 5 stars, all the 10 stars, all the
your
homeboy Harvey Martin is over there. your good friend Freezy. I mean, they loaded up the truck over there.
I'm not mad at Carol City for this reason. I'm gonna tell you why. I ain't mad at Freezy. I ain't mad at Martin. I ain't mad at nothing. Listen, I ain't mad at Tor. I ain't mad at none of them. This is why. I heard somebody complaining, and it was ironically somebody who I think they had gone to Chaminade or St. Thomas, and they were saying, "Oh, this is a team, and they just went out and they got this team, and they recruited this team, and it's the best team that money could buy." And I was like, "What you think y'all been doing out of our neighborhoods all this time?
Yeah.
How dare you criticize them?"
Yeah,
it's the unmitigated gall to actually criticize somebody for doing what you have been doing. So that's what y'all been doing. Look, you up and winning state championships with kids plucked from different communities all across South Florida.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
No.
I mean, it is amazing. But we have to give you a large credit for that, because majority of those top players, whether it was at Miramar, with the state championship run with Gino, I call him Gino the Bambino, whether it was the big receiver over at Ohio State, all those kids came from Miami Gardens. I mean, everybody at Chaminade, majority of those kids came from Miami Gardens. Majority of kids that went to, travel all around the country, they came from Miami Gardens. I mean, they came out of, the Ravens. They came out of the
Ravens,
Vikings,
Chiefs,
over there,
Vikings,
the Chiefs, and all that. I mean, and that is a credit to you, because you took. I remember like it was yesterday. When you became mayor, you invested into the parks, number one, because the kids played there. You invested into football, because that was a way out for a lot of those kids. And so as the years went on, because we never know where these kids going to end up at, we know through good coaches, and you also made sure that the coaches were certified. They had to go to certification. They could not be criminals coaching the kids. You put certain layers in place, plus the support of the entire government of Miami Gardens supporting around that. When you see the fruits of your labor, and you did that because you're such a sports guy, and at the time a sports mayor, and working with those guys in the community and making sure that the kids were getting the right coaching from the right mentors. Now you see the fruit of your labors. You see, these big time players and these kids all across the country in Miami Gardens thriving in football talent enough to be able to give Chaminade all kinds of talent to beat me so many times. Jones.
Yeah, Jones.
With Miami Gardens kids. I mean, when you see that, and the things that you put in place when you went in as a commissioner and then as a mayor of Miami Gardens, how do you feel about yourself when you look at those things?
I think it's wonderful, actually, Luke, because I remember when I first became a city councilman, one of the first things I did was I said that, hey, if a kid's suspended from school and he can't have a C average, we'll give him tutoring, but he's not going to be playing on our football field if he's suspended from school. And I remember getting cussed, like I got read for absolute filth by some parents. Like they cussed me out so bad. No, that one thing I got to do the other. And I was like, hey, listen, I'm trying to prepare this kid to not be an optimist star, not even be a high school star, but be able to go to college. And so if he's going to go to college, he's going to graduate from high school. To graduate from high school, he's going to have to play in high school, and he's going to have at least a C average. So why wouldn't we be giving this kid tutoring now? Why would we be saying, hey, it's okay what you do during the school day, you can still come play football? And parents hated it at first. And so we stuck to it. And then I became mayor, and I said, we're going to invest in this. And I remember the first time we spent $1 million total in all of our football programs, and people complained about that. My point was, hey, so these are young boys who are coming of age, and I'm investing in things that's going to people who are going to invest in them. Now, what I'm saying is this. We didn't have a problem spending that $1 million on police officers. We didn't have a problem spending that $1 million on jails. Why would we have a problem spending that $1 million to actually after school, we with some men. Some of them may or may not have father figures. Some men who will talk to them. Their coaches now know that they have to do right in school, so their coaches have to see their report cards.
Mm-hmm.
The coaches have to. Their coaches are talking directly to their teachers now. So we made it. We created a situation where now these young men who are stars on these fields are also doing the right thing in schools. And if it just costs some extra money, what we've done is actually changed their lives. And we've also changed the direction of the community by changing their life. And it didn't save everybody, it saved a lot. And I remember that a mom who had cussed me out, I remember when her son graduated and he got a scholarship to go play in college, she hugged me crying, saying thank you. And I knew that day would come, that day had to come. And so I admire this. I admire what you all do, what you've done for years. That people don't know how hard it is to invest in young men, especially when they smelling themselves. They got all type of ability. They've been told they're all world by everybody else. To be able to build them up but keep them humble at the same time. To make them an individual star, but also make them understand how to work as a team at the same time. Those things are not easy. And so I look at the things that you all have done for years, the kids that you poured into for years, and you might not be able to actually see the effect that you've had. The coaches, the optimist coaches, the high school football coaches, y'all don't see the effect you have maybe, but the aggregate of your effect, listen, you close down prisons for people who aren't in there that would be in there. Graveyards. I mean, so those are real things. Like I was a prosecutor as a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the effect of young men at that age when they don't have someone who adds that type of structure and discipline and focus to their life. Mm-hmm. And so that has to happen. And so it did happen. And I'm very happy. When people talk about how I turned around Miami Gardens, we talk about the economic development and the crime went down and all these other things. I talk about the parks.
Yeah.
Our parks were closed. I redeveloped them and I opened them.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's an ongoing process. People are still building out the bond. You still see that happening. But I created the atmosphere and the attitude that we don't have to build, we don't have to move to some place to have something nice. We could actually build it. We could actually create it. And we can have that on our parks. You want to do science, technology, engineering, mathematics, you can do it in Bunch Park now. You know, you can do that. You want to have gymnastics, dance, volleyball, you can do that in these places. We want to have a senior center for our seniors, dedicated spot. You can do that now. We can have that type of stuff. But I thought that was central to actually us becoming a community. We were a city. We became a city in 2003, but we had to coalesce as a community. To coalesce as a community, you need community spaces. And so we actually did that.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, I could, you know, because I've seen you when as the commissioner. I've seen you. I didn't know you that well as a Broward County prosecutor. Thank God. Yeah, you know. But at the same time, I seen how you and I've seen how you went into Miami Gardens as a commissioner and how you grew Miami Gardens as a city from it being a city when, you know, Shirley started up, got it going. But then there's always a situation where the mantle has to be passed and that individual have to take it to a whole nother level. And then that individual, obviously Rodney after you, and everybody has to continuously take it to another level. And so to see the work that you put in, you know, I could not even start this conversation without praising you for the work you've done in that community, and more so for the entire South Florida. You know, we can sit on here all day and talk about some of the things that you've created, whether it was, you know, partnering with Kendra, bringing the Orange Blossom Classic back here, something that had not been here for hundreds of years, and the economical impact of that, you know, I mean, out of this world. I mean, when you think about your legacy, how would you want folks to describe you?
I mean, I made a difference, whether I talked about it or not. and the difference that you can see, I'm a proponent of the idea that there ought to be an impact on a place such that when you leave, people can see a difference. And so when I'm walking through and I'm going door to door now, talking about the congressional race, that's the thing that actually resonates. People, you can see a difference. You could see a difference. And Shirley was our inaugural mayor. She started the city. She took it away. When I came in with the idea that I see people and hear people talking about they're going to leave Miami Gardens, they're moving to Miramar. Hey, listen, I'm going to build something here with you. I'm going to change this zoning. I'm going to recruit businesses. I'm going to clean these streets. We're going to do this. We're going to open these parks. We're going to do this. And you could see it. I remember when I told folks that we were going to be an all-American city when I became mayor. I said it in 2012. And people laughed out loud at me. And in 2020, we became an all-American city. Yeah. And I just chuckled. I chuckled because, you know, the city that people had said could not succeed had succeeded and surpassed all expectations. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't just me. It was the council members who trusted me with their votes. It was the community who trusted really a kid with an imagination. What I talked to them about when I ran for mayor was that I was just from here. And it raised me to be a very specific type of way. You said go to college, go to law school, get your degree, work hard. I get all of those things. And what I'm telling you is that we can have better, we can do better if we focus and we aggregate our resources together. And so I talked to them about that and they believed in it. And so they gave me that chance. They gave a young kid from Miami Gardens a chance to exercise his imagination over the third largest city, like in the county, the largest predominantly Black city in the state of Florida. And from there, I become the president of African-American mayors nationally and go to sit on the National League of Cities. And people bring me out to talk about economic development and economic revitalization now. But because they let me just sit in a room and exercise my imagination. We're going to figure this out. Let's have an entertainment overlay district. Oh, I know what we can do. We can change these corridors to look like this. Oh, I know what? We can have these sign things. And it was just me looking around the country and in some respects the world and seeing things that worked in other places and trying to iterate and make them something that could work here. And so it wasn't always easy. Listen, I remember when Topgolf came. Topgolf was supposed to be a truck parking stop, like a truck. And I remember those people came to the council meeting and was upset about Topgolf. We don't need no Topgolf. We don't even play golf. And I was like, y'all, it's not like that. It's not. So we changed the zoning anyway. I went and recruited them. We recruited them anyway. And then when they start hiring folks from the community and they start going there and having their birthday parties there, and then people start meeting there for happy hours and eating the little poppers and stuff, and everybody's like, oh, this is nice. It was nice then. What I needed was proof of concept. I needed to show big brands and businesses that you could actually bring people into Miami Gardens because of our location. Mm-hmm. And so it was the economic proof of concept that we needed in Miami Gardens that would spur economic development, and still is working. So, you know, when on 27th Avenue, they're finally at the point where they're actually trying to lay the infrastructure for the hotel and the city place that's going to be built there. Mm-hmm. And as a county commissioner, you know, I went to the county and I got us $25 million around that to build a performing arts center because I'm tired of having to go places for graduations. I'm tired of having to go places for plays and comedy shows and small concerts and recitals. We ought to be able to have a nice place here. And so we created the CRA for Miami Gardens when I was there in Miami Gardens to operate the Performing Arts Center and to build it. And then when I go to the county, I send $25 million here to help build it. And my argument to the county was this. Listen, I get it. It's in Miami Gardens. It's with the city of Miami Gardens. It's their CRA. But this is a part of the county where you didn't invest in before. There are no public spaces that can allow folks to meet like this in this part of the county. There are no places. You have them in the city of Miami. You have other places. You don't have them here. And so what I'm saying is let's partner with the city and let's provide a space that this community can congregate, because they're not just Miami Gardens residents, they're Miami-Dade County residents also. They pay Miami-Dade County taxes also. They always had, and you all had never invested. Well, let's invest now. And so that argument worked, and we used it several times. We have aggregated some money together, got about $25 million, and it worked out. So now they're about to break ground on that too. It is an exciting time because I can see the impact of the arguments that I made.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing. I always call it like a work of art. You got to have vision. Everybody don't have vision, you know what I'm saying? And when you have vision and you come in, whether you're an artist or not, we can look at an artist and say, man, this is gonna be the next Trina. This is gonna be the next Rick Ross. You got to have vision, and that's an art form that you have to have the vision of how you want this city to look. Yeah, along the way, there may be some bumps and bruises, but then just like you say, you got to explain to people, hey, look, this will work, and they have to entrust in you and your vision. And after they see a few things work, then it's a beautiful thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we just started off before I even announced the great Oliver Gilbert, but I did announce him earlier. They were joined by Oliver Gilbert, spent large part of professional life in public service. Oliver Gilbert served as the mayor of Miami Gardens. He served on the county commission, District 1 chairman, Miami-Dade County Commissioner. He also is running for Congressional District 24 in Congress. Oliver Gilbert was also anointed by the one and only Frederica Wilson to take his to take her seat. And today we're going to talk about his vision for Congress and why he believes he's the right person to replace Congressman Wilson. I want to thank you, my brother, for coming on the show. You know, I like I said earlier, I was toying with, because I am running in a race. Okay, do I continue doing what I normally do in election time? And I was like, nah, yeah, I got to do this because we owe it to the community. And, I got on the phone, called 10. Hey, look, we got to talk to Oliver. And, because there's a lot of things going on. It's a lot of this race that you're in is a very, very, very important race. And, it's a lot of folks in this race. When you look at this race and you see some of the people in the race, some people who have been friends of yours for so many years. I mean, how do you approach a race like this? Because normally you run unopposed. I think you probably had one person to run against you one time, and she was your friend and still ended up being your friend. How do you look at a race like this when you got so many people that you've known for so many years? How do you process a race like this?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough for us, the people who are in the race, but it's even tougher for the people who support us on Instagram. Like, listen, I know Shepard and I are friends. His supporters, they hate me. So it's fine.
Oh God. Oh.
Dude, it's crazy. So like, we're like, it's fine. So when we're all on stage together and we're going back and forth, I'm not really thinking about the people on the stage. I'm thinking about the people in the audience and in the community, and to the greater extent in the country. My candidacy is not against any of the people who are listed on the ballot with me. My candidacy is for Congress and for a country that we can actually believe in again. Look, the level of hopelessness that's mounting in this country is so dangerous, Lou. It scares me to hear so many people think that they can't make a difference. And one of the reasons it scares me is that's what they want you to think. I was at an event, I think it was yesterday. It was at one of our senior towers, and the lady said she doesn't really like to vote because it doesn't make a difference. And I said, that's what they want you to think. But if it didn't make a difference, why are they trying to pass so many laws to make it so difficult to vote? Because they know it makes a difference. Your one vote, you might think might not make a difference. But when you aggregate that vote with my vote and your vote and folks around this country, we have the power to speak things into existence when we say it together. We have the power to say that healthcare is a right. When we say it together as a country, that manifests into something. I think that we've forgotten that we can actually do big things. And one of the reasons that I think that I know that Frederica endorsed me, and I'm proud to have her endorsement, is because of the stuff that you were just talking about. She saw the work. Like everybody's going to basically say the same stuff. Everybody believes in healthcare. We all believe that stuff is it costs too much. It's too expensive. Your housing, your healthcare, prescription drugs, your food, your gas. You can't afford, everything's getting more expensive, but your wages are staying the same. That don't seem right. Everybody believes that stuff in this race. Everybody running against believes that stuff. The question is, who's been effective at working? And so everybody's going to say, well, they've been successful. I heard, I passed this many. This is someone who's actually doing the job right now, representing this same group of people right now. She knows what it takes, and she's had the ability to observe all of us. And she said that it was necessary to choose me because she had seen me work. So she knew I'd worked in Miami Gardens. I'd worked in the county. She knew that I would go to Washington and I would work, and I wouldn't just go there and talk and just constantly post on Instagram. And I'm not here for that type of stuff. A lot of stuff I do for people, you never really see it. Like, you'll know about it. Yeah. 10 of y'all folks will know about it, but I don't go. Listen, 80% of the stuff I do for folks, I don't post.
Yeah,
we don't post.
Exactly. We don't. We have to sit there and talk all day if we explain to people the things that we've done for people and the things that we've done. Let me ask you. So, what part of her legacy would you continue, and what areas would you approach it different?
I mean, the 5,000 role models of excellence is something that I think has to continue. It has to continue. It has to prosper. It has to grow. It's done more to interrupt the school to prison pipeline than any other program probably in this country. And so if we want to continue to affect the young men and the families in this community, it's incumbent on us to make sure it grows. And so I would definitely include that. I mean, Frederica and I have completely different styles in some respects, though. And so I would do that. We're going to invest in money in that. We're going to invest time in that because I believe it has to grow. And I'm committed to that. The things that I would probably focus on as a congressman, I believe that we ought to have more businesses. Like, I like people having jobs. I'm actually sponsoring a job fair with the Congresswoman. And so, we need to also have business fairs. And one of the things that I'm proposing is I call it the SBA 2.0. Like, I actually have policies that I want to I'm not speaking in generalities. I want to change the programming and the formulas in the SBA 504, 7A. I want to change them. I want to make it easier for us to actually access funds, access capital. We have plenty of people who are talented, but they can't always get the capital to actually build on those streams. We know that the vast majority of jobs in this country, in this county, in this district are created by small businesses, but our tax code and our resources are actually written for larger businesses. Well, why can't we have an opportunity type zone that's designed for specific areas, but for businesses, where we actually invest, we make it easier for you to have access. So we have areas that previously have been neglected and we know we want to open businesses in those areas. Well, let's do that. We did it for people buying land, but them buying land is good, but that just encouraged people to come buy land in our communities. How about you give the people who are there the opportunity to open businesses in their communities? So you can turn your soup kitchen or your kitchen into an actual restaurant. So you can actually transform and circulate dollars within your community. I would focus heavily on that. I think one of the things that I didn't like and I don't like with folks, and this is going to be Republicans and Democrats alike, when they come to our community during election time, they're always talking to us about social services, and that's cool. I believe in social services. But I want somebody to talk to me about economic development.
Right.
I want somebody to talk to me about, the growing industries. I want you to talk. I want our kids to be business owners and employers and not necessarily employees. And I don't think that's like an odd thing to want. That seems kind of consistent with the American dream. But we've been always given the version of the American dream where we just did the right thing and we just made enough. No, I want y'all to grow. I want y'all to grow and go and grow and be filthy rich. That's right.
Let me ask you: do you believe the high cost of housing is running people out of Miami Gardens?
Oh, I think to some extent, yes, but I don't think it's just a Miami Gardens thing. I think it's a South Florida thing. And I think what happens is we have all of these experts, but the true test of housing costs and affordability of housing is going to be supply and demand. You have to have more. Your supply has to exceed your demand. If your demand exceeds your supply, prices will go up. If your supply exceeds your demand, prices will go down. That's 101 economics. So how can we build? So when I talk about housing and housing affordability, I talk about it in the context of rapid mass transit. Now, I know you've heard me talk about rapid mass transit a lot. Yeah. But I keep coming back to it because we need to build density along those corridors, but we can't afford to add cars to the highways. So we need to invest in rapid mass transit. If folks had done it 30, 40 years ago, it'd have been a couple $100, $300 million. Now you're looking at $6 billion. One of the things that I will focus on in DC is actually being a good federal partner to try to get the federal government to contribute to something we know has to happen. It has to happen. And remember that Florida has a pretty robust economy, but Miami-Dade County is what pushes it. Mm-hmm. We have to move this community forward in a way that allows it to become the capital of this hemisphere. Mm-hmm. We can't do that without rapid mass transit. There are no truly world-class cities without rapid mass transit. And I know people love their cars, but you build rapid mass transit throughout this county, and you will see the transition over time. And that transition will lead to more economic development in areas. It'll lead to more housing built in areas. And that density won't be single family homes, and there'll be people who still want single family homes. But you know what? That density will still help bring down the prices for single family homes. Because when you're adding to the total amount of inventory of housing, you're going to affect the cost of all housing. And it won't come down. It won't come down instantly. It won't happen quick because these decisions take time to kind of percolate and matriculate. And so we're actually living with the policies and the results of the policies that have been passed for the past 30 years. Mm-hmm. Wow. And so we have to be focused on building something that can be prosperous in the future.
Right. When you look at it, right, South Florida, we don't have Fortune 500 companies. We're a service industry, and we have hotels, beaches, people come here. Our economic base is tourism dollars and the money that we make off of that. And you see the cost of living going up. You see the cost of property taxes going up, insurance going up, and the total cost of living ends up, at these record numbers. How do you bring, and you've done this before, how do you bring it to a norm? How do you bring businesses in your district in South Florida to balance that off? I mean, what would you do as a congressman to encourage more businesses to come here in South Florida to balance that off, to get some of those good high-paying jobs in here?
Well, you see some of that happening now with some of the billionaires that are relocating here. One of the things that we have is a favorable tax environment here in South Florida, and so we can benefit from that. But when I talk to the folks who are moving here, one of the things to talk about is our education system. We have to invest in our education system. We have to have an ability to organically produce talent that can supply the workforce of the future. And so one of the proposals that I have is regarding education. I think the federal Department of Education needs to be funding school districts that incentivize two different basic areas: the industries that we need in the future, the physics, the quantum physics, the mathematics, all of those things that we know we're going to need. But then also, if that school system can graduate folks who are trade ready, for folks who might not want to go to college, trade ready for folks who if you need pipe fitters, if you need like technicians, trade ready for folks who are doing that. You know, one of the things that I've had the privilege of doing is working with Barrington Irvin, the flying classroom. He was the youngest person, I think, to circumnavigate the world in a plane that he built, which is crazy to me because, you know, I would not drive around the street in the car that I built, but he flew around the world in a plane that he built. But what his program actually brings folks, young people from our community in to teach them how to be mechanics and engineers and pilots and work in the back office and the business and all this stuff. And so in industry and aeronautical industry, and I think that's important, right? Well, what if our school system actually graduated folks with those types of certifications, but not just in that field, in other fields? So you should graduate from school trade ready, college ready, or life ready.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to incentivize that. So right now, we're focused on, listen, apparently our federal government thinks that Black history is a problem. Our state government thinks that Black history is a problem, while the reading proficiency in the state of Florida is going down. So you think that Black history is a problem in education, while the kids can't read? I want our kids to be competitive, not just in this state, in this country, but in this world. So we know the fields, we know the technology, we know what the future requires. I don't want them to just be participants. I want them to be the architects of the new economy. I want them to be the artist that creates the new internet. Listen, we can invest in them in that way in this country. We just have to actually believe it and say it with ourselves. When we say things together, we are remarkably successful as a country. When we commit ourselves to something and we say it, this is what we want to do. We are going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Mm-hmm. When we say that, we're going to cure AIDS. Remember in the 80s when it was this huge problem?
Right.
Now you have all these medicines. We're remarkably successful at doing things when we commit ourselves as a country. Why wouldn't we just commit ourselves as a country to empowering our kids and helping them shape the future, helping them become the people who shape the future of the entire world? Why wouldn't we do that?
Yeah, that's spot on. That in South Florida, as you know, we got large Haitian community, North Miami Beach, all over the place, Miramar, anywhere, South Florida. You look at the issues in Haiti, and you look at this administration's position on TPS, ran it up through the Supreme Court. Obviously, they got it, TPS, taking people protective status away. What would your position be as United States Congressman on how to resolve that? I mean, me and you both, we know Marco Rubio very well. Have you been to Mar-a-Lago?
I've never been to Mar-a-Lago.
Damn, that would have been good because
No, I've never been to Mar-a-Lago. I'm good.
No, I didn't say Epstein Island. I said
I ain't been to Epstein Island either. I've not been to Epstein Island either.
So, I mean, how would you? I mean, we have so many Haitians here. A large part of your district is Haitians in it. You're now the congressman, and you're representing Congressional District 24. Knowing that, I mean, you guys just did an event at Little Haiti Cultural Center. Building a relationship with Haiti. I mean, they just got an ambassador after all these years, I think last year. As a congressman, what are some of the things that you would fight for when it comes to TPS and relationships with Haiti? How would you go about dealing with those things?
I think with regard to TPS, people call it temporary protected status. I understand that it's supposed to be temporary. I think that if folks have been, you have people who are on TPS and been up for 10 years, right? Let's give them a pathway to citizenship. Like I don't understand. This is not complicated stuff. It's not like we haven't dealt with these situations before. Folks come here fleeing places that are violent or oppressed. They come here looking for a new life. They come here in pursuit of the American dream. We incorporate their culture into the American culture. It changed. We become a tapestry. And we've done it with Irish. We've done it with Italian. We've done this before now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't act like we ain't done this before. We've done this before. I don't see why it's different. I don't see why we wouldn't. That's fine. You keep it temporary. But if you've been here and you ain't got no trouble, you paying your taxes, well, then welcome to America. Make them citizens. Because they're truly a part of our community right now. So just make them citizens. Those are our family members. Those are our neighbors. Those are our friends. Just make them citizens. There needs to be a real path to citizenship. And so if you want temporary protected status to end at a certain point, I disagree with that, because I think that you can't end the temporary protected status before the conditions that caused it to be in place or implemented was changed. And I don't think that anything's changed such that you could actually send folks back to Haiti. But okay, let's just make them citizens. And now they're citizens. Now they're not protected by temporary protected status anymore. So that solves that part. With regard to Haiti, Haiti's a more challenging thing, because you have, I see where, the Trump administration and where a lot of folks are going with their involvement and their policies toward Haiti and these other places. I'm not interested in us trying to colonize Haiti and trying to extract wealth out of Haiti. I want us to invest in Haiti, invest in its infrastructure, empower its people. If you do those things, if you help them find that type of security and stability, it will change the tone, tenor, and necessity of migration. Mm-hmm. And so I think that sometimes we need to look at solving the problem, like help them solve their problem. And I think that we can do that. I think that we can do that as America. I think it's incumbent on us to do that. We invest in places all across the world, and I don't begrudge us those investments. I believe it's in an American interest. We can find American interest in different ways in different spaces. I think it's in America's interest to invest in development and infrastructure development and stability in Haiti. I think it's in our interest to make sure they have a stable government that does not abuse their people. I think it's in our interest to do that. And as a congressman, I'll speak to that.
And that's, because it is, I think a lot of, I totally agree with you when it comes to creating a pathway to citizenship. How the hell these people been on? These folks been on temporary status for all these many years. I mean, you got people been here for 30 and 40 years still here on temporary status, and like you say, not even a work visa. It's too many things that we could have done to be able to protect these good folks, and they won't be in this situation where they don't know whether or not they're going to get deported or not in this government.
Oh, Spain is winning.
Spain is winning? Oh, yeah.
Oh, 1-0. Okay.
Exactly. So let me ask you. Most people, and I'm pretty sure you hear it on the campaign trail when they talk about transparency, in government and being able to be transparent. I know you've always been transparent. You've always been overly transparent. People know you. You ain't hard. You like Deion Sanders. You ain't hard to find. When it comes to what do you say to the voters when that question comes up and say, hey, look, my office is going to be transparent in this way? How do you speak to voters in that manner when it comes to transparency? And are you going to be accessible? Are you going to come back and talk to us? Because I hear that all the time, and that's one of the questions that folks hit me up in the DMs, like, please ask him this. How, in your own words, how would your office be when it comes to transparency and availability to the electorate?
Well, I'll do the availability first. Look, I'm here. I'm here in Miami. I'm here in Miami Gardens. I'm here in South Florida. I'm here. It's interesting because there's a kind of over access. Like, you see me a lot more than you see other elected officials. They might not want to admit it, but I'm not the person who's sitting at the table in the VIP. I'm the person in the back dancing with you. So I'm you see me at the place. So it's always interesting when people say, "Oh, you only come around when elections." I've had somebody jump him. No, he don't. He always I'm here. I go to the Optimus games. I don't just walk the field. I sit on the tent. I yell at the refs. I remember that time I got kicked off the sideline at the Optimus game. It was the worst. And let me tell you what happened, Lou. It wasn't. I didn't curse. I didn't curse at him like this time. But he said it was a call, and he was right there. And I said, "Hey, do you all have to take tests to be refs?" And he said, "Yes." And then all I said was, and I don't think this is a reason for me to get kicked off the sideline. Let me just say that. All I said was, "Did you pass because of the curve?"
Oh, that was a low blow. That was a low blow. That was a low blow.
It was the worst.
That was hardcore. Let me ask you. So this is I guess the $365,000 question. You successful. You're in county commissioner. You the chair. Everything. Why run for Congress now?
I think now the fierce urgency of now is what Martin Luther King called it, but man, because stuff is crazy. So I hear people talking, and I hear what's happening in Washington, what's happening in Tallahassee, and I hear us yelling from the far left and the far right, and people don't really care about what's going on with real people, man. Like real people. When I talk about healthcare, like the things that I talk about, when I talk about healthcare, I talk about healthcare from the perspective of my father died from congestive heart failure. He sat on the sofa while his heart was breaking. He didn't want to be a burden. He didn't say a word. We find out when it's too late. That shouldn't be something that's happening. So yes, I believe that healthcare is a right. When I talk about housing security, I remember my family went through some hard times when I was in college. I ended up living in my car for a while. That's hard. In the winter in Tallahassee, that's hard. Housing security is important to me. When I was going to law school, I caught the 27 to the Metro Rail every day. So public transit took me to my future, took me to my education. So when I talk about building out a rapid mass transit system that allows us to move people to opportunity, these are my lived experiences. Like I'm not here for, like, these are things that I notice. I don't hear it a lot. I hear people making these cute political points, and everybody has a cute Instagram about it or Twitter, and yeah, the president says something that's literally ridiculous every day. And so because we've gotten caught up in the ridiculousness, we've forgotten that they told us that terrorists were supposed to be paid for by the other people. They told us that the gas prices was going to go down. They told us that groceries would be more effective. They told us all these things, but we're not paying attention to that anymore because we are so distractible as a country. If you mention race, if you mention sexuality, you can get people to stop talking about the issues that affect their day-to-day life for weeks at a time. Mm-hmm. You can. I want to actually propose legislation, work on items that actually affect us every day. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's important. I think having that voice and that presence is important. I think that my history has been, well, the greatest indicator of what someone can do is what they have done. Mm-hmm. I've been successful everywhere I've been, whether it's practicing law, becoming partner in a law firm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
City council, county commissioner, became chairman. League of Cities, Board of Directors, U.S. Conference of Mayors, Advisory Board of Directors, President, African American Wearers, testified before Congress on mass transit, speak all over the country, spoke in Taipei about economic development.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been successful in those places. I think that, and it's just basically because I'm always focusing on the people here in this place. If you are an elected official, public servant, and even not here in South Florida, any place in this country, any place in this world, and you just focus on making the world better for the people in this place, what you'll find is the butterfly effects of your efforts will actually transform other places also. And I think it has. I think I can bring this conversation to our Congress. I know I can, and I look forward to it.
Right. Let me. So is this? How do you envision this campaign? Is it about to get messy? Because when you look at some of the stuff that you see online, it's like get your popcorn ready. You have different opponents attacking different people, and it seems like everybody is attacking you. And it's coming from everywhere. Obviously, the obvious is the obvious. I mean, you've been the mayor, you've been, and that the guy on the top of the mountain always get shot at. Is it about to get messy? How are you going to handle the mess that's being thrown at you?
Well, I'm not going to tell a lie about anybody. That's the first thing. My standard for the campaign is generally just my standard. If I tell you, you can lie about me, I'm going to tell the truth about you, and it's gonna probably be worse. So that's the first thing. I don't know how messy it will be. What I will tell you is this: this is a primary where it will decide who the winner is. You got to get one more vote than the next person. Everybody is in there is committed to actually winning. I, as a general rule, I tend to match your energy. So I don't. What you know what? Me and Keon, we call it park rules. So there's not going to be a situation where folks are hitting me and I don't hit them back. I'm good about, I will actually talk about ideas. I have been. I think I might be the only person who's actually posting real policy. I get real policy. I would love to talk about ideas. I'd love to have a conversation about ideas. I would love to compare our records to the extent other people have one. I love to compare that. I think my record stands up against anybody in public service in this race. And so I look forward to those conversations. Those aren't the conversations that we're likely to have, because I think, and you got it right. I mean, I don't know whether I'm the leader in this race or not. I know that based on my experience, they probably think I'm the leader because they're all talking about me. While they're talking about me, I'm actually trying to talk about the conditions in your life. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to talk about the fact that your wages stayed the same, but the cost of grocery went up. Like I remember the times when I would go to Winn-Dixie, or you know what, Pantry Pied, or Extra. And I remember going to Publix in those places and wondering whether when I swiped this card, it was going to be enough money. Dude, that's people's experiences right now. Like people are experiencing that. And so folks want to talk to me about all manner of mess. And I want to talk about the fact that we can't have the Strait of Hormuz closed. We can't have the price of gas to keep going up, because the price of gas is factored into everything. The price of oil is factored into everything. And so it's impossible to have a certainty on pricing if you don't get some of these external things under control. It's impossible for us to tell the American people that tariffs that they're not paying the tariffs. Of course they are. Of course they're paying the tariffs. Corporations exist to make profit. Mm-hmm. When those tariffs come due, they pass on that cost. Of course, that's what's happening. I love to have a conversation about comprehensive immigration reform. I'd love to have the conversation about rapid mass transit. I'd love to have the conversation about strengthening our infrastructure, because sea level rise is real, and it's real for us here in South Florida. I love to have the conversation about an education system that actually focuses on educating our students and our population for what's to come, helping them become the architects of the next economy, the next world. I would love to have that conversation. And so those are the conversations that I think that are important, because during these elections, what I found is, we don't actually ask questions. Somebody was talking to me at the senior center that I was at, and we were speaking, and she said, well, I think the question was, how do we get people to really talk to us about healthcare? And I said, well, I think you need to ask them when they're running. Ask them whether they actually believe in health, that healthcare is a right. Ask them if they believe, because I'll tell you very specifically, I believe healthcare is a right. I think we need to lower the age to entry to Medicare and raise the barriers on Medicaid, economic barriers, so that you're not working in the working poor, and because you're the working poor, you don't have access to healthcare. I think that if we just do those two things, we'll actually fix it for a lot of people. Look, if we can't get that one big thing that solves it for everybody at once, let's just set a goal that by, I don't know, whatever year, in 20 or 30 years, everybody's going to be covered, and let's just inch away at it. Let's at least make progress. Right now, they're trying to take us back by removing subsidies, taking us back by doing those things. In what world is that reflective of our values? That's not reflective of our values. I'm not going to be the person who sits still for that. I'm not the person who's going to be running for cameras and stuff. I'm the person who will put in the work. And back to your question about, transparency. One of the things that I'm pretty sure I've gotten in trouble about this before is I will answer your question. You might not like the answer I give. I am accessible in a way that when you stop me in Walmart and you say, why did I get this code enforcement citation? I explain to you why you got it and what you can do. I explain it. It is what it is. So sometimes people get mad not because you don't answer the question. They'll chalk it up to your attitude, but really it's that you didn't give them the answer they wanted. I don't want people telling me what I want to hear. I purposely surround myself with people who will give me like what the real is. This is your goal, but this isn't working, Commissioner. This is how we need that, because for far too long, we've had elected officials who weren't actually public servants, but they were actually politicians. They like saying yes to everyone.
Right.
They like saying yes to everyone, and then they don't deliver on the yes. And there's never a consequence for that person. That person can say yes and not deliver, but because they're nice, no one ever says anything. I catch the heat because if the answer is no, just the answer is probably going to be no. Right. I will try to help you in another way. I'll try to help you find, achieve your ultimate goal. But sometimes the answer has to be no. And I don't think that we get that, because you don't typically think that you can win votes or win elections by telling people no. Right.
So I want you to clear up this alligator Alcatraz money. You issued a statement saying Chevron, when he was head of the prison system, he took campaign contributions from the same company. And obviously there's been some things said you took campaign contributions from. Explain to us that. I mean, in your own words, the statement and about the contribution. I mean, just in your own words, if you can explain.
Yeah, so it's really interesting, because I didn't actually bring Chevron into this. They've been talking about this online for a long time, and I was just like, now I knew that Chevron took contributions from the same company. I didn't say nothing about it.
Right.
I knew that Chevron took campaign contributions from a private prison provider also. I didn't say anything about it. I was quiet. I only said something about it when he decided to try to call me out on a commercial. I was like, well, it's one thing to criticize the contribution, but it's a completely different thing to be a hypocrite. So what you're not going to do is do the same thing and tell people that I was wrong about it, that you're not going to do that. So that was my only response to it, and I did it and I meant it.
Mm.
So I don't suspect that that's going to change at all. Now, to the actual contribution, you know, Luke, it's also interesting that we're ignoring what the company actually said. The company actually saw what was going on. They issued a statement, and they told the truth. They gave me money to run a countywide initiative. The first one was the transportation ballot initiative, the rapid mass transit. A couple of years ago, we ran that ballot initiative, those commercials on TV, all that stuff. They gave me money for that. I ended up raising $250,000, not all from them, but to ask the question, do we still value rapid mass transit? They told everyone why they gave me the money. None of that money went to my campaign. None of that money bought a TV ad. None of that money sent out a flyer. And so it was interesting because they did it again, because in the context of 30 for 30, which is an organization that I created through the county, it takes 30 people from around the county, you know, presidents of universities, presidents of hospitals, county commissioners, the people from the seaport, the people from the airport, to figure out what Miami-Dade County, the education system, to figure out what Miami-Dade County needs and what we need to look like in 30 years and what we need to do. We're convening, we're coming up with a new kind of outreach mechanism to talk about what has to happen in Miami-Dade County. The owner of the company is the vice chair of the board. She contributed to it again. Now, the kicker to all of this is when they say they gave it to my campaign, you do understand that none of that money could be used for my campaign legally. They're federal contractors. They've never been before me to vote for anything. Now, they have been before the state of Florida. They've been before folks who are in the state of Florida. They've never been before me to vote for anything. I've never voted to give them anything, any contracts. They are friends. They provided roads, they paved roads, and they provided nurses for Alligator Alcatraz. They didn't operate a prison, as was previously stated by somebody. They paved roads and provided nurses. I guess people don't want them to provide nurses. They don't want people there to have nurses. I can appreciate it. And I'm not going to argue that point. I'm just saying it wasn't for my campaign. It can't be used for a federal campaign. Legally, it cannot be used. And everyone who's talking knows that. No one who's talking said it because it's not in their political interests. Now, when I say that Chevron took money from them, he took money from them. When I say he took money from the GEO Group, he took money from the GEO Group. He took it in 2019. The GEO Group is a private prison provider that runs ICE detention centers. He took it in 2019, he took it in 2024, and he took it in 2026. Now, his campaign said that in 2019, he gave the money back. Now, I'll be honest with you, we can't find the return of that contribution. But no one checks. It is what it is. But if you gave it back in 2019, why then did you take it in 2024 and 2026? Like, no one asked those questions. I don't particularly, look, I'm not going to get into people's campaign reports, but what I don't like is people being sanctimonious. So when I look at his campaign report, and his whole campaign is being run out of a super PAC in DC, we don't know where they got money from. When I look at Kendrick Meek's campaign, and like 90% of his contributions come from the DC metro area, from lobbyists and PACs in DC. But apparently, you know, he's a grassroots candidate who's funding his campaign $1 at a time. Like, I don't feel the need to comment on anybody's stuff, right? I don't need to. What you're not going to do is actually try to act like the person who's taking money, who's raising money here in South Florida from people who want to build transit, build houses, and improve Miami-Dade County, that I'm the bad guy when both of my main opponents there are raising money straight out of DC, because that's what we really need, another DC politician. That's what we really need.
I mean that's it's again that I can see I can see this thing is going go go left real fast. What's the difference between you and your opponents? I mean, you have a state guy, you have a lawyer, Rod Vereen, you have a county commissioner in Montestine, you have a doctor in Moise, you have like I say, state guy, federal Chevron. You had did I miss somebody?
It's a lot of people. You have Marshall Davis, who's a coach in the art scene,
So,
Rob
what's
Vereen, John
yeah.
Monstein, Rudy Moise, Chevron Jones, Kendrick Meek, myself. I think that's it.
What separates you from the rest of them?
Oh, I think it's the work. I mean, no matter how much they try to talk about what they did, you can actually drive through and see my work. You can see my work.
Right.
You know, when I recruited you remember when the practice facility was going to be built in Miramar, and I recruited them to Miami Gardens.
So you stole them from Miramar?
I stole them from Miramar. That was me.
Now you got to get you're asking for Miramar votes now.
I am. It's the work though.
I guess that's the transparency part of it.
Yeah, it's completely the work. It was me. It was me. I did it. It was
by the way,
me.
Spain won. Spain did win.
When you look at the economic development I created, it was the work. When you look at the crime going down, it was the work. When you look at the programming for kids, it was the work. It was the civil rights trips for taking students on expeditions. It was the work. When you look at paid parental leave at the county, it was the work. When you look at the union contracts that I pushed through because the state was trying to eliminate and limit the rights that they could bargain for. It was the work. When you look at, listen, replacing people's septic tanks. I've been replacing people's septic tanks one at a time for free because I knew they couldn't afford to do it, and I knew it's the work. It was the actual work. When you look at the work I've done with Barrington Urban to actually strengthen programs that actually create jobs and create wealth in our community, it's the work. When you look at the fact that Opalaka, because somebody mentioned Opalaka on Instagram or Facebook, I saw that. It was hilarious because Opalaka was in debt, seriously. And one of the things that I did, they didn't ask me to do. I said, hey, this is your debt, most of your debts to the county. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to propose an item that takes all of the interest that you paid, because you ain't paid down the principal yet. I'm going to take all the interest you paid over the years. I want to apply that as the principal. And when I apply that to the principal, it instantly saves them $500,000. But it also saves them more because now they're not paying any interest, and they get to terminate their loan in 2024 and 2028. When people ask me what I did, if I don't have to go to all the gift cards, credit cards, book ball, big bag giveaways, Jazz and Gardens tickets, all those things I did in Opalaka. I don't have to talk about when there was tragedy and fire struck, how we responded even when it wasn't in my district. I don't have to talk about that. I actually made you financially solvent. So when people say, what did you do? But because, and this is, I don't have to talk about the fact that every time you wanted to do an event, I got you the stage from the county. I never asked to be listed as a sponsor on anything. Because I never thought that I'd have to prove that I sponsored it. I never thought that someone would say, he's done nothing in Opalaka. When I was giving out those Publix cards, I never thought to say, you know what? Make sure you post a picture on this with Instagram. When I was giving their seniors Jazz in the Gardens tickets, the same as I do in Miami Gardens. Like it's the work. Let's go even deeper to a new part of the district, Miramar. When Miami-Dade County was looking to build a waste energy facility, and some folks didn't want it in Doral, but they wanted to put it in a site that was like a mile or so away from Miramar. It was me who put in the work. It was me who made the motion. It was me who said, no, hold on. If we wouldn't do it to our neighbors, to our residents, I won't do it to theirs. It was me. I didn't represent nobody in Miramar. I didn't know I was going to be running for Congress and Miramar was going to be in the district. Mm-hmm. I did the work. I did the right thing. So when Frederica endorses me, she's looking at all our work. Look, she was a state senator. She knows what Chevron's done and what he could have done. She knows John Monestein. She knows Rudy Moe. She knows Rob Vereen. She knows Marshall Davis. You know, she knows kind of sort of, I guess, Kendrick Meek. I mean, he grew up in the DC area, but she knows who he is. He doesn't necessarily have a record in public service. You know, she knows she chose someone who would do the work. And so I want to do the work. I get the feeling that other folks might not necessarily have that goal. Right.
So let me ask you, because you have been so, and because you have been so, like, Mayor of Miami Gardens, Commissioner of Miami Gardens, born and raised in Miami Gardens, went to New Orleans, who got to play Carol City. Went to New Orleans, FAMU, University of Miami. You fought. I remember clearly having a conversation with you one time before when you were fighting North Miami, the water issue. I think it's North Miami Beach. And you fought them tooth and nail because you felt like they were charging the residents of Miami Gardens all this money. And like you say, getting the Dolphin facility out of Miramar. And you know, I mean, your relationship obviously with Keon and everybody in Overtown and Liberty City and North Miami, you know, when you look at those fights that you had to actually go and fight those municipalities down, you will now be representing. What is your message to them? Because you were locked in. You know, I know the answer, but what is your message to them that you were fighting them tooth and nail when you were mayor of Miami Gardens, and now you're running to be their congressman, and why should they vote for you? What is your message to them?
Well, I've only ever really had a disagreement with one municipality, that's North Miami Beach, and they only have like a block into the Congressional district. But my message to them would be this. First of all, I'm going to do what I think is right. Like the North Miami Beach issue, and it wasn't about the people of North Miami Beach. It was about the policymakers, the politicians, the administrators. They had become reliant on water surplus dollars from other municipalities to supplement their general fund. It was never meant to do that. So people, and not just in Miami Gardens, but in cities all along the east coast of Dade County that receive water from North Miami Beach, was paying for the general fund activities, the parties and the parks and all that stuff for the residents of North Miami Beach. That wasn't right. You can have those things, but you need to pay for that stuff out of your budget. You don't need to take that stuff out of the water fees that come from other cities. And I was so right that the statute, that I kept this fight up, and people, you know, this is revision. Everybody's taking credit for it now. The truth is that I gave a State of the City speech about this. I gave a State of the City speech about this and told them that we would never give up. When I went to be commissioner, they thought they had dodged a bullet. And so I got to the county and I made it a county legislative priority. And so now the county is lobbying for this every year. And because the county is lobbying for this every year, and North Miami Beach's lobbyist is on the county team, he can't lobby for them. It was part of a greater strategy. And then it passes 1 year. Chevron sponsored it. Felicia sponsored it. Passed 1 year. The governor vetoes it. So when Rep. Robinson and I sit down and talk about it, it's like, well, you know, I'm going to try to work with some of these Republicans this year. Can we get the language on a bill with Representative Demi Busada Cabrera? And so I go to her, I talk to her. We talked to her about it. We talked to her about how unfair it was. And she had remembered that she had voted for it the year before. She put it on her bill, and it was a bill that they wanted to pass. And so the bill passes and the governor signs it. But now we didn't just solve the problem for Miami Gardens. Come July of 27, we solved the problem for everybody in the state. No one can do it. That started because I just would not give up. I would tell the people of North Miami Beach and every other municipality that they have someone who'll never give up. I'll never stop fighting for them. That once I commit myself and we identify this is our value, this is what we identify as right, I'm going. And so it won't always be pretty. I'm not necessarily the person you send when you want it to be pretty. I'm the person you send when you want it to get done. I'll get it done.
That's, I mean, hey, I had to ask you that because so you've been in. I mean, when you look at you in as a mayor and a county commissioner, county chairman, you've always been involved in the school system. You know, with the Department of Education being gutted, what is your plan when it comes to education in your congressional district as a congressman?
Well, I'll continue to work with our local school board member, whoever that's going to be. And I'll continue to work with my successor on the county commission is Steve Gallen. And I know he's going to continue to work with our local school board members also. So I'll continue to do that. But I think the national role has to be by way of setting standards and sending down more money. And I think that we probably have to do a better job of sending money directly to districts and not through the state. Because what I don't want to get caught up in is the ideological wars in Tallahassee and limiting how those dollars actually come down to the county. We know what we need to do from an educational perspective. We need to fully fund it. We need to pay teachers like professionals. You know, I was talking about this COPS program that they used to have when I was mayor. I don't know if they still have it, the Justice Department. They would, the Bureau of Justice, they'd have this COP program where they would pay a portion of a COP salary if you agreed to hire it, and you just had to be able to absorb the salary later on. Why can't we have something structured like that for teachers? Why can't we have the federal government saying, hey, if you actually will pay teachers like professionals, we'll pay a portion of it so we can actually raise their pay? Well, why can't we have programs that allow people to come in and teach just for a semester, high-performing students, high-performing classes, have them co-teach with folks? So you have engineers from NASA coming to teach rocket science, literally. We can have stuff like that. We just have to think about what we want and try to envision a way to get there. And I think that sometimes we get caught into this idea that we need to think outside the box. I don't want you thinking outside the box. I want you to realize that the box is a figment of our collective imagination. We created the box, and then we say that the box is what limits us. You can't completely build the cell and call yourself a prisoner. You built the cell. You built the cell. You can dismantle this. Mm-hmm. We are being held captive by our traditions and our sense of status quo, even though we know what is required. And that's in education, it's in healthcare, it's home ownership. We are being held captive. We can stop that. That's within our power to stop. That's one of those things that when I talk about, when we collectively say something as a country, that we can speak things into existence. We have the power to do that. We have the power to remake this country every 2 years when we vote on who's going to represent us in the House of Representatives. It's the people's house for a reason. We're the people. We are the people.
We are the people. Ain't no question about it. Man, this was a great interview. Streeter was in here. You know, I had brought my guy in to talk sports to you, but I guess we covered that with your understanding is that the game being played, Carol City versus no. I wasn't gonna come in here.
Stop. Don't do it. Don't let the devil
I'm
use
gonna leave that alone. If there's anybody in the chat that want to ask a question before I let the Honorable Oliver Gilbert go, this is gonna be. It's gonna be. I just love this race. I love it. I can't pay enough attention to it because I got my own race. But I just love the fact that you have different people from different perspectives, different walks of life in this race. There are difference of opinions as to how this congressional district should actually be running. And it's, you know, I just hope at the end of the day, you know, everybody can just come back together and be friends when the race is over with, because so many powerful individuals in this race. I mean, when you look at lawyer and look at doctor, you look at state senator, you look at you look at a young man, Meeks, and you look at Monestein and all these different folks in this race. My daddy always said the cream will rise to the top. So, I mean, and I'll give you the last word. What do you say to the voters, and why should they vote for you?
Born and raised here. And I when I went away to college, I came back here to work and serve. And the value of my service has seeable, it's touchable. It's an understanding of who we are, what we need, and how we actually transform. First it was a city, then it was a county, and now it's a country. I believe in America. I believe in this district. I believe that our best days before us, but I believe we need to reimagine what we can become. And I believe we need people who are willing to work and who have a history of getting the work done. I've done that. I will do that. I love your support.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate. Damn, I'm thinking I'm getting. I appreciate you coming on this show. I appreciate everything that you've done for the community and for the culture. I just got one last question.
Okay.
And it's just describe this person in one word. Tangela Sears.
Oh.
One word. You only have one word. One word to describe her.
Relentless. Relentless. Tan is relentless. Relentless.
Oh God.
Oh my God, she's relentless.
Hey,
It's like that energizer bunny, like
relentless. Relentless is the right word.
Man.
Hey man, I want to thank you, my brother, for coming on. I really appreciate you, and good luck on the trail.
I appreciate you. Good luck out there.
All right, thank you. Man, we had the opportunity to talk to the Honorable Oliver Gilbert. Man, I'm telling you, it's such a big show. I just want to let you all know, I've extended, and I will be, if I have it, I'll be extending invitation to all the other candidates in Congressional District 24 run, and any other candidates in any other districts other than mine. Should I interview people running in my district? Congressional District 20. But that was a great interview. Hopefully we've got some of the things that you all wanted to clear up. We talked about Alligator Alcatraz. We talked about some of the work that a lot of the work that Commissioner Gilbert has done. We talked about his fight with North Miami Beach in the water. We talked about Miramar. We didn't get too deep into Liberty City and Overtown. There wasn't no issues there. We talked about the Chevron, him and Chevron going back and forward, and we talked about his opinion on his the candidates that are running in his race. And I was getting some texts by some of the candidates and some of the people who run. Ask him this. No, I'm not going to do that. Don't text me to ask him any other candidate any questions. You get to do that on the campaign trail, or you are more than welcome to come on this show right here. I'm sorry about this StreamYard stuff all over my page here while Zika Foster did something to my thing where I have to have this on here, and I didn't find anything to be able to take that off. Only thing I did is found this right here. Again, that was a great interview. I enjoyed having an interview with Oliver Gilbert. That was excellent. Man, I know some of you guys, you got so captivated and you didn't put anything in the chat, which was good. I mean, I was asking the right questions. At the same time, Spain did win. This show will be rebroadcast. Thank you to everybody who's on my YouTube channel, both of my Facebook pages. That's going to be a very interesting race. You know, it's going to be a very interesting race. You have Meeks, young, vibrant, young person, come from a family where grandmother, congresswoman, father, congressman, all these people are my friends. I mean, it's amazing. I'm happy. I'm running in a race, but I won't have to be chiming in. You have Moise is running, the doctor. You have who was originally in my race. You have Monestein running. I don't know who else is over there. You have Chevron, a good friend of mine, Chevron running. I mean, this is a very, very, very interesting and contentious race. A lot of these guys bring something different. You have Rob Vereen running. A lot of these guys bring different. You know, it's an amazing, different race. You know, one hand you might want the state senator, on the other hand you might want to have the mayor and the county commissioner and the prosecutor, and another hand you might want somebody totally different than the young guy or the doctor, or another hand you might want the former county commissioner, Monestein. And so you guys in Congressional District 24, y'all got your work cut out for you. And I know absentee ballots have been mailed. Y'all got your. I know it's gonna be difficult for everyone, and the mud is only going to continuously being slung. You know, it is going to. You know, all those guys are very competitive guys. You know, none of them are going to sit back and allow somebody to be attacked and then turn the other cheek. So that's not going to happen. Man, it's totally different than my race. My race, I have the Congresswoman who was indicted, who has a federal hearing in February and who resigned in Congress. And I have the gentrifier, the white lady in my race who's trying to erase a black congressional district and turn it and take a black seat that has never been taken away in 30 years. And then you have a career politician, old head who's been beat by the lady who resigned. And then we have a young guy also in our race who's a substitute teacher. So that is my race. My race is a lot different than that race. And I mean, for the elephant in the room, there's tons of people think that I'm running in that race. I'm not. Tons of people think I should have ran in that race. I think Congressional District 24 and the candidates that you have are very qualified candidates. Those individuals, whoever you guys pick, I know that they're going to do an excellent job. Whoever you guys pick. Normally, if I wasn't running in a race, I would be endorsing. Thank God I'm running in a race because I don't want to be in the position of be doing an endorsement because I've always endorsed candidates, and most of my candidates always won, right, Tangela? They've always won, and I've always had to boast to Tangela, my candidate won, and then sometimes my candidate didn't win, but when my candidate didn't win, they didn't end up. I'll leave that alone. I'll leave that one alone. But yeah, man, it's a very exciting political time of year. As you can see right on the thing, vote by August 18th. When it comes to my race, let me just say this. I'm running in a tough race. I do not under no circumstances take any special interest group money. You'll see my campaign funds very low. I will not be buying the race. I will not be taking my own money and buying this congressional race because I think when you take your own money and you buy a seat, then you expect to get a return out of it. And one of the only how you get returns is when you start doing something messy and when you start doing something illegal or when you start doing insider trading. You know what I'm saying? Like my main opponent who has all the money allegedly does insider trading. Let me put that disclaimer on there because it seems like people would love to be suing me right now. That's what it is. And so my race is different. It's a choice of whether you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know, I'm a person that I have a problem with the Democratic establishment. I have a problem with the Congressional Black Caucus. I felt like the Congressional Black Caucus should have put down on this woman, Debbie, that's in my race. I felt like if they're going to attack the Republican Party for gerrymandering maps and erasing African-American seats, 3 of them in Tennessee, Alabama, and Louisiana, if they're going to put down and tell us we need to be boycotting their football teams and everything in those states, then they should have been the ones to put down on Debbie when she decided that she did not want to run for her seat against Jared Moskowitz or run in 22 against a Republican that Joe Biden won that district 5%, won it by 5%. She could have easily took up $15 million in her PAC money and $3 million liquid cash money and ran in that district, but she decided to run in a African-American district that seat has been held by African-American for over 30 years. She did that. The Congressional Black Caucus didn't say anything about it. They didn't make one statement. And I think that the Congressional Black Caucus showed that they have no backbone, no spine. And I said it, that they should have put down on her. If it was Mega would have put down on any individual in the Republican Party going against Donald Trump's interests. And you've seen that in these primaries. I think the Congressional Black Caucus has a responsibility to protect Black elected officials, Black representation, and Black people. And that's whether it's foreign or domestic, whether it's in-house or not. So they've shown me and a lot of people, because I represent the upset Black man, who borderline is ready to go independent, like so many other Black men and women who are sick and tired of this Democratic Party saying that they're going to do everything for us, but does nothing. I'm sorry. I'm keeping it a buck. And so I said to myself, before I be like anybody else, I will go and make the change. I will be the person to go change. And so God put me in this position to run. The caucus had an opportunity to put down on this woman, to tell her, make a political statement that she's wrong for doing what she's doing. Meanwhile, she went and allegedly lied about the party. She talked to Hakeem Jeffrey, and Hakeem Jeffrey gave him a blessing to run in this district. Now, mind you, this district hasn't changed. It is still 54% African Americans. It's still 20% Caucasian, even with the gerrymandering of the map, 15% Hispanics. And of those 20% white folks in this district, there's only about 6,000 that actually votes. And so I had friends of mine telling me, oh, you guys need to consolidate, go to these meetings and all those things like that. And I had not done the numbers at that moment. But when I went back and did the numbers, I got highly pissed off with some of my friends who took me into those stupid ass meetings that I had with those other candidates. No, you don't have to consolidate. She needs to get African-American votes. And I trust in the people in Congressional District 20 to do the right thing and vote for me. I trust that they're going to do the right thing. When I go walk door to door and see and talk to these people, they're sick and tired of the former mayor. They're sick and tired of being misrepresented by the lady who resigned. I'm not going to call their names. And, you know, they just feel like the young guy's not ready right now. And I like the young guy. When I win this, I'm going to offer the young guy a job. I'm going to take the young guy with me. I think the young guy is our future. I think he can be an asset to the district. But at the same time, This is a very, very serious race. My race in Congressional District 20 is more serious. It is the crashing of the Democratic Party, as I see it. Here you have a strong Black man in me who's not a part of the elites, who's not a part of the bougie crew, who represents all these strong Black men who are very upset with the Democratic Party, who are very upset, and a lot of them voted for Trump. This is the time that the Democratic Party should be saying, hey, if we really want to win the White House, if we really want to win the Senate, if we really want to win Congress, we're going to have to extend this Democratic Party. It starts with the Black Congressional Caucus. We're going to have to bring in some fresh people who we know going to fight. People we know going to fight on that same level Donald Trump is fighting on. People we know who has vision, not the same old. So when I look at it, I look at this party I look at my race in Congressional District 20, it's showing that, it's showing the Democratic Party. My race is showing that white Democrats run the Democratic Party, even though nobody could do nothing without African-American vote. We are the power, but it ain't like we running this thing like we are the power. We're running this thing like we are the minority and not the majority. We ain't running it like that. We running it like we work for them and they should be working for us. But when the white side is funding and handpicking congressional members through PAC money and through campaign contributions, then they actually control us. This would have been the perfect time for the African-American members, the Congressional Black Caucus, to say, in this race, we're going to show this woman, this white woman, Debbie, more ways than one. We're going to endorse, every one of us, we're going to endorse individuals in this race. Hey, we're going to endorse you, Mr. Campbell. And matter of fact, we're going to tell our campaign, our donors to our campaign to put that money on you or whoever in the race. I don't give a damn, whoever in the race. We're going to endorse individuals in that race, and we're going to tell our donors to put money in their race. That's how that's, to me, how they would have shown us that they do represent Black people, other than having the Congressional Black Caucus weekend where they're partying with the celebrities and all that. They didn't do that. They had the opportunity. God put them in a position to have a voice and say, hold on, white people. Oh, do we have a problem? So y'all saying a white Democrat to run in a Black congressional district? Or what we doing? Because y'all could do that to either one of us. It did in Memphis with Harold Ford. Remember Harold Ford, Daddy? Everybody talk about Memphis and the crime and all the bad things about Memphis. I love Memphis. Memphis got some great people in it. But they talk about the crime, the killings, the murders, and all that in Memphis. You know how that came about? You know how that came about? Ford, father, Harold Ford Jr., Harold Ford Sr., was the congressional member. Harold Ford Jr. ran and became the congressman after his daddy was a congressman. Then there was a white guy that ran in the race and took the seat. There goes the neighborhood. Voila. Bring the crime in. Bring everything in. Lower the property value so then we can gentrify and sell at a lower value. So people never talk about that. That's why I wish I was on the golf course with LeBron James when he was having that conversation. I love him to death. But you need to understand how did Memphis go from here to here, because it always wasn't like that. It was because of congressional representation. The same thing that the white Democrats and the black Democrats are allowing to happen again in Congressional District 20 if they elect her. Now y'all have the power. The power is in the people. If you go for the okie doke, if you decide that you ain't vote for Uncle Luke, and I'm just extending myself because I know I can do the job. I know I can be the difference, because the job that I've done on many, many occasions in Miami and around the country, I could just go on and on about my resume. But I know having me in that district is going to bring back Black Wall Street. I'm going to bring the money back. Listen, and I can tell you one thing. If there was a white Democrat running in a predominantly black district, sitting Congresswoman or man, I'd be the first person to speak out on it. It's just so amazing that not one black member of the Congressional Black Caucus is speaking out against Debbie for running in this district. And you ask yourself, why? They dance around it. Even Jazzy Jasmine Crockett, even Jazzy, who clock it all the time. Oh, I don't know what that means. I just be saying. Even Jazzy Jasmine Crockett, you ain't saying nothing. All these slick mouth black congressmen and women and all that, y'all ain't saying no. That prosecutor, he ain't saying nothing. Everybody got a memo. Don't fucking say nothing about this race. Why? Because of PAC money? You're going to affect my PAC money. Because in all actuality, white Democrats really run the black Democrats because they're the ones who are giving them the PAC money. So who or what interests are the black Democrats voting for? Are you really voting for black interests? Are you really voting for black interests? So I'm giving you the frustration of the average African-American man and woman. Why are we still in poverty? Why are we still talking about, I'm running on a race, I'm still talking about SNAP benefits. Before it was welfare, before welfare was, then after welfare was the EBT cards. Now we talking about SNAP. They just created a new name. It's almost like booty shaking, and the new name is twerking. We still talk about affordable housing. They even flipped that. They even flipped affordable housing. They said, oh shit, we're gonna take the governmental projects and we're gonna say, we're going to give you affordable housing, but we're going to displace you for the time being. Go into the community and say, yeah, we're going to develop and redevelop the governmental projects. And so y'all will be able to come back and move into this nice, beautiful place. And so what they do at the county level and the federal government level, they give it to a special interest developer. And they run in, they send people into the community and say, listen, we're going to redevelop, we're going to make this place beautiful, and you're going to be able to come back and move in here, and then give it to the developer for $1 to redevelop the governmental housing projects. Remember, it's owned by the government. $1 and you'll have the contract for 99 years. Go and redevelop it, because the government don't want to do that. We don't want to spend no money into it because the government don't want to do none of these things. And that's what they do. They privatize everything. So they've been privatizing the governmental housing projects. give it to a developer, one of their friends who give plenty of money to those campaigns, and they give the money to everybody on your county commission campaign. They give the money to everybody on your city commission campaign, and then they partner up with HUD. They get the development. All of a sudden, they're building the new governmental housing projects, and they call it affordable housing. Then they call it workforce housing. And then they tell those people, yes, we're going to build these, but we're going to move you over here to your final resting place. That's what they're really doing. They don't tell you that. We're going to move you over here while we rebuild. And then in applying to get back in those places, you know what they say? Can we have 5 years tax return? You need to be making X amount of dollars because remember, it's affordable housing, workforce housing. So you need to bring your tax returns for 5 years. You need to bring your bank stubs. You need to bring your last child birth certificate. You need to let me know where you came, where you went, all this here. Do you have any criminal record? Did you have, I got shoplifted. So, you don't qualify to come back in. Oh my God. And then the Starbucks open up. Then, like my buddy Ron made, damn, I been to the corner and I see white people pulling groceries out their car and they're going into the building in the heart of the city. And this is happening everywhere. Not on my watch. It's big business, people. It's so easy. I identified in my district $6.7 billion. I'm talking about the word B that's allocated for my congressional district. And I broke it out. They don't want to pour back into the district to increase businesses. They don't want to big up the business. Oh, here you have X amount of dollars for small businesses, $250 million. You have $5 billion to expand the port. You have another $250 million that you can create through your entertainment tax credit, along with an entertainment tax credit, to bring major corporations down here to now do what? You have another $1 billion for affordable housing, $250 million that you can create subsidies to help seniors with the high cost of insurance. You have another $250 million that you can invest in apprentice programs and schools and trades to teach the young people. That's what I've identified. I ain't going to play with these people. But what does that all do? My housing plan is called Built by Us for Us. My port expansion is called Built by Us for Us. What that mean? Built by us for. So you building the port and you're making money. You're building the affordable housing. You're making the money. People from the district, and they're allowed to go back in there. Once you finish building the port, then port workers become workers of the port because you've expanded it. So you just expanded the workforce. You have another $250 million in small business loans. That's going into new businesses and existing businesses to bring the level of their businesses up. So you've created jobs within the district and you've created money circulating. And you've stopped gentrification. You've beautified an entire community with good high-paying jobs because we know the cost of living is out the roof. We can't control the insurance, but we can bail out the auto industry and bail out the LI industry. We can bail out homeowners in the state of Florida with this high cost of insurance until they get the shit right. We could penalize insurance companies because the last time I checked, my mother's house withstand every hurricane known to man. Katrina and every catastrophic category 5, you name it. Why in the hell all of us, a ton of us on here. Why is our insurance going up? Because they allowed to build houses like they were building the houses for Georgia with sheetrock, and our houses are built with cinder block. Why does the insurance company don't insure my house different than the house that was built with sheetrock? The cinder block has lasted forever. The sheetrock don't last. It's like you're not going to charge the same insurance money for a Volkswagen versus a Range Rover. That's simple. That's simple, but that can easily be fixed. Somebody just has to bring until that happens. I got to bail out my seniors. My seniors making a tough decision. They got insurance up the yin yang, property tax up the yin yang, gas up the yin yang, grocery up the yin yang. My seniors got to go take a job at Publix doing grocery because the math ain't mathing, because they are sitting here with the Social Security check and their retirement check, but then now you done up the damn cost of living. You've upped the gas. You've upped the property tax. You've upped the insurance. The math ain't mathing. So now they got to go take a job after they retired. Or they lose their house. Or they lose their house. So my campaign is about fixing that, because we know what's going on. You have prescription drugs out the roof. So now they got to sit there and they're balancing the books. Can I get the steak this weekend? No, I can't. We can't afford the steak this weekend. That shit like $37, and we got to eat. No, we got to pay for prescription drugs. That's coming up. Oh, we got to pay for property taxes. We got insurance. We have to do all this. And the man knock on the door. You want to sell? Those are the issues that people are facing in my congressional district. So in order to balance that, I got to bring more money back into the district. I got to bring higher paying jobs, which I am, through my entertainment tax credit. We're going to build some studios in my congressional district. And when you build studios, those are high paying jobs. There ain't no play. So we're going to do that. When we build affordable housing, it's going to be built by the people in my district. That allows them to afford to live there. We're going to go people who have construction companies that come from Congressional District 20. I'm going to go mad search. Y'all come back. It's going to be like, come back to Jamaica. Come on back. I know you went because you couldn't get no business here and you had to go and leave here and then go all the way to Georgia to get business, and you have a thriving construction business. Don't come on back, and we're going to employ the people here. Meanwhile, while I'm teaching my kids, I'm paying my kids. I'm paying my kids to learn tech, learn to learn tech, to learn a trade, so that when they leave college, when they leave high school, because everybody ain't going to college, we know that they get a good high-paying job so they can still afford to live in the community they grew up in. See, everything is designed that the seniors sell their house, move, the people who live in the district move, because Congressional District 20 is so close to the beach and the ocean. Congressional District 24 is 3 to 4 miles away from the ocean. They want that. These billionaires ain't moving here for no reason. These trillionaires. They want that whole corridor. That whole quarter, Congressional District 20, Congressional District 24, they already controlled it with Jared Moskowitz. They already control it up there in Palm Beach with Lois Franco. So if they get Congressional District 20, they get to finish the gentrification program. And the way it's moving, Congressional District 24, they'll probably have 2 terms before they run a white person in that race. See? But y'all sitting there talking about experience. Experience in doing what? Stealing? So look at my point. What are you experiencing? Oh, she's experienced. Experiencing what? What have you done for Black people? Are you experienced in, is she experienced in small business? Let's compare. Luther Campbell, small business, owner, operator, and have some successful multimillionaires that came out of my small business called Luke Records and Luke Films. Do we need to go down the list? Trick Daddy, not Trina, my little sister. Trick Daddy, H-Town, Pitbull. That's the Cuban connection. They think I'm not going to get the Hispanic vote. Pitbull, H-Town, JT Bunny, Poison Clan. The list goes on. Angie Griffith. So, what have you done? Anybody in my race got a small business? The white lady? No. You left the University of Florida and went straight into politics. You never had a job. So how in the fuck you going to talk to some people about owning a small business and having a job and the things that people have to work? So that's experience. Experience in doing what? Being a career politician. Experience in doing it in Bernie Sanders. Experience in getting fired by President Barack Obama. Experience in lying, in my opinion. That's what y'all want. Anybody that vote for that lady should be ashamed of themselves. Now you move to the other candidates, experience in gentrifying the neighborhood, you just got expelled. You got convicted on 25 accounts. 27 accounts you got convicted. 25 counts by Congress. You got a federal indictment hanging over your head. It's kind of hard to vote for. Young guy. Those are the people who I'm running against. This is the system that I'm running against. So it's my plan versus their plan. Do you want to get gentrified? Vote for Debbie. She's going to get you. Or vote for Dale. He'll finish it off. Do you want Black Wall Street? Do you want a bigger and brighter future here in Congressional District 20? You want money coming back in? You know I love my kids. You've seen the things that I've done in Miami. Bring major partnerships, major corporations, major dollars. Yes, I'm from Miami. I've been living in Broward County for 15 years. It's time that I do the same thing I did in Miami that I do in Broward County. It's time. Because I live in this county, I pay taxes in this county. My job right now is to do that and more. Ain't no place I never went that I didn't turn into gold. I took guys off the street who were selling drugs and made them multimillionaires, international superstars. Nobody in this race could say that. I built lives. I took kids. I put thousands of kids in college. Played on the biggest and highest stage. I've coached them. Made more millions and millions of dollars than the ones that I'm more proud of, and not the ones who made it to the NFL, but the ones who went to college, because I always put 90% of my kids in college while coaching for 20 years. The ones who live in a successful life with their degree, I'm more proud of them than anything. I'm proud of the kids who decided that they didn't want to go to college, but they're living productive lives and doing good services in the community. I'm proud of Keon Hardeman, who played football and baseball in our youth program. And he's a successful politician at the county commission. I'm proud of founding that organization. And when I go out there in my district, and I go out to some of these parks in my district, and I see some of these organizations are being mistreated, because I know where CDBG funds need to be going to. I know where that penny tax dollars need to be going to. So a lot of people ain't happy about me running, because I don't play when it comes to my kids. I do not play when it comes to KIDS, because they are our future. It is our responsibility to make sure the future is bright for them. And I've always did that and more. So when I see the people I'm running against, and at the end of the day, I'm taking an L. This job pay $170,000. That's what it pays. So when I look at Sun Sentinel and Miami Herald and all these people endorse these people, what are you endorsing? You endorsing that? You should be ashamed of yourself. Now they got all kind of stuff, lies that, see, when you know you're making an impact, then they start creating those lies and they start floating around stuff. They got stuff going around the district talking about they're making up stuff, which is real funny. They just making up stuff. They got me going to jail for something. I can tell you what I went to jail for. I went to jail for fighting for free speech. I went to the Supreme Court for fighting for free speech. I can tell you what I was accused of, and later on, charges got dropped. I can tell you that. My life is open book. When you get to decide that you're going to run for office, you sit up there and say, what's this? My life is an open book, and I am willing and able to discuss any and everything. So they can float all their little rhetoric around and all the lies and the propaganda, which is great, because that tells me I'm doing something great. That tells me we're winning. And we're going to do some great things in Congressional District 20. And if God says this is not your time and we want you to do something different, we want you to go ahead and retire, Luke, and get you dual citizenship in the Bahamas and Jamaica and just spend the rest of your days over there chilling because the little man is going to be going off to college, then so be it. That's what I'll do. If he decides that you, oh man, do this and do that, I do what God tells me to do. I'm led by G-O-D, because I'm down with G-O-D. You know me. That's what they should remix this song. You down with G-O-D? Yeah, you know me. Remix that song. But yeah, so again, that's our show today. I saw my man Streeter coming in here. We was going to talk some sports. We've been on here for a minute. We got to talk to Oliver Gilbert. We had a 24-hour voters registration event. We were able to get some people voted. Some people registered to vote. Some people made donations. Ms. Zika got this banner up here, and I don't know what she did with my regular banner. You can hit that QR code up there if you want to make a campaign contribution to my campaign right there. Just go right there and hit the QR code and make a $5 campaign contribution, because we are really grassroots. I heard Oliver Gilbert talk about grassroots and where people getting money from and all that. I actually fired my fundraisers. It was like, well, we got to go to Washington and raise some funds. I say, no, we don't. No, you don't want to act right. No. I take $5. This is a real grassroots campaign, $5. And funding from my friends, individuals who feel like they want to bet on this campaign. They want to put money in this campaign. And remember, when you run these campaigns, the money don't go directly to the candidate. The money goes to the people who work in the campaign. The money goes to the people. The money goes to the kids. Like my campaign I got half older people and half kids, because I want the kids to understand the political process and being educated by the older people so they could be like me. I remember as a kid, I gave out flyers for Carrie Meek. Yeah. And that's how I got it. I learned how to promote like that. And then I learned from my father and my uncle about politics and Black history. So that's why I'm well abreast of it. And my creativity came from my mom, being creative. And that's what I'm going to do in my Congressional District 24 if they decide that they want to vote for me and send me to Washington. I'm going to do some things. I know it's going to be the first couple of weeks are going to be really, really interesting because we're going to have a sit down with the Black Caucus. And they're going to have to really explain to me why they didn't put down on this white woman and where they're at when it comes to African-American people and the representation of African-American people, because I didn't see it in my race. Not one of them endorsed, not one of them made a campaign contribution to me or any other candidate in this race against this woman. Now, if they're friends with her, that's fine. That means they're friends with everybody else over there on that side, on the white side. And if that is the case, then every angry African-American male and female who has been sick and tired of being sick and tired of the Democratic Party, they have a right to feel that way. Just like me, I have a right to feel that way. And that's the reason why I'm running. I'm running to see if y'all really want that change. I'm running to see if y'all really buy that life. If you want that change, Luke goes in. If you want that change, you'll make a campaign contribution. Other than that, hey, I'm going to be all right. I don't know about the other candidates because I don't think they have a job to go to after this, but I do. I'll go back to my nice little beautiful business. I stopped a 29-city tour. When I was sitting there getting ready to sign that paper in Tallahassee, I was like, oh my God, I have a 29-city tour and I can't do it if I do this. Oh my God. And I say, don't do it for the people. God always sends me to places to fix and do it for the people. And that's what I'm going to do. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my show. I really appreciate you guys coming on here. We're back Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You know, the schedule kind of alters because I am running a congressional race. I'll be coming back in the district, knocking on doors. You got to love it. Hey, I'll be in the district knocking on doors. We'll have people calling you up. If you have that mail-in ballot right now, please scratch Uncle Luke on there. My name is first, so you can't miss me. Scratch Uncle Luke on there. If you're in Congressional District 20, Broward County, scratch my name on there. It's a life-changing scratch. It's the best scratch-off you can ever do. It's the best scratch-off where you can guarantee that you're going to reap the rewards of that scratch-off. Don't scratch the other names on there. My God. Let's make a change. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my show. Thank you all on Facebook, on both my Facebook pages. Thank you all on YouTube, Uncle Luke TV. Thank you on X. Thank you on Snapchat. We're going to figure out how to get my TikTok people involved in this once I figure it out. But I want to thank you all for being on the show today. Thank you to Oliver Gilbert for coming on. We'll be back on tomorrow, 5 p.m. 5 p.m. This show will rebroadcast like all the other shows rebroadcast, but we're live 5 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and a special edition on Sunday. So, in the words of Walter Cronkite, as usual, may the good news, before I say that, make sure you vote by the 18th. May the good news be yours. Peace. I love you all. Thank you. Counselor, do you have something to say?
The next great congressman from the state of Florida, and his name will be Luther Campbell. I'm Civil Rights Attorney Ben Crump, often referred to as Black America's Attorney General. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, went to high school at South Plantation High School. My dad still lives in Parkway. We want to make sure we have a strong advocate from our community who understands our culture to go fight for us in the United States Congress. So make sure you go vote for Uncle Luke Campbell for Congress on August 18th.